Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today I wanted to do a tier list video, but I wanted to do a more lighthearted tier list. Now, make no mistake, yes, I am creating content out of nothing here. There's really no new news, no leaks, no indication of anything new coming just yet, so we're kind of waiting, but I wanted to make a tier list for characters that I think are the most fun to play. So this is way more subjective of a tier list than I've ever done. But I'm going to do my best, and I'll maybe make some changes and do my best. Now, let's go ahead and dump into it. Let's take a dump into this tier list. All right, Dragonite. I think Dragonite's fun to play, but I'm not going to lie, I don't think it's that fun to play. I think that the character is strong, but I don't actually think it's like even my favorite play style. I think Outrage Dragonite is actually way more fun to play than Hyper Beam, so that kind of pulls it up a little bit. But I'm not going to lie, I think Dragonite is like a B+ tier fun to play character. The character does some cool things, and that's cool. The ultimate's like not that exciting to me. I think it's kind of boring. Dragon Dance feels good, and Extreme Speed actually feels pretty fun, but Hyper Beam it really just feels like a slow Hyper Beam's strong, but the character feels like a slow attacker. It's not that fun to play. Serena, I have to say it, I think this character's so fun. Mechanically getting good at this character, learning how Queenly Majesty, double dashing all over the place, like zipping in and out. Like, this character is probably my favorite all-rounder to play right now. I think it just fits that bruiser all-rounder role so incredibly well. I don't really know how to explain it. I feel like it's so fun to play. Sylveon. Sylveon, in my opinion, is actually really fun to play. I really like that this is an SP attacker, so it's like a mage caster that's like much more mobile and free-flowing. A lot of characters in this game that are SP attackers are sluggish, they're slow, they're not very self-sufficient, they're not that great. Mystical Fire for me is incredibly fun to play. Mystical Fire Calm Mind feels really good. Hyper Voice is just strong. You get your Ignite move, you're frolicking all over the place. Like, it's actually really fun to play, in my opinion. Mammo Swine. Mammo Swine, I'm not gonna lie, this character feels like the all-rounder of tanks, but not like gradient all-rounder. It just is like very mobile in the early game, does a lot, has a lot of CC, feels very tanky when it needs to be in the mid game, and then has like a damaging ult where you stomp around. It feels fun. It feels more engaging than just being that frontliney tank like Snorlax. I think that Mammo Swine is really fun to play. I really love, Swinub, I think is the name of it. The early levels, Pillow Swine and Swinub. They're really fun to play. Yeah, I think Mammo is really fun. When you Ice Fang high horsepower, even if you Earth, like Icicle Crash, and you do like the Shatter combo on it, like the character is just really fun. Alolan Ninetales. I find this character sometimes fun to play. I don't know if this is a B or a C tier fun to play for me, but it just feels, you're casting, you're walking around, yeah, you pop an ult, like you can do some combos, like you can get the freezes, or you can be, standing in your Aurora Veil with your Dazzling Gleam and you get your auto attacks in. I don't feel like the character's terrible to play. Maybe it's a B tier. It feels just slow and not super impactful, and not really for me. Not really for me. Talonflame, very mobile, really fun to play, but personally, it has nothing to do with Talonflame. It's not my favorite speedster. It's not my favorite jungler. I think it's really good, but that doesn't really matter here. I think it's fun because you can fly over walls, you can steal, you can be really annoying with this character. Really fun to play. Slowbro. Okay. Hot take time. Maybe. I don't know. I think Slowbro is super fun to play. I think that the character, especially now that it's like more balanced, is really tanky. It brings a lot of CC just with Surf alone. Amnesia heals like crazy. Telekinesis brings more CC. You have the most BM ult, which BM is like bad mannered. You have the rudest ult in the game. You just pick someone and just, if your team's around, you delete them. Like, sometimes getting Slobro ulted is like, just, it's ridiculous. It's so cool. I think the character is really fun. The early game's not very great and it's a little sluggish, but once you get Surf and you start ramping up, I think the character's super fun. You're just super tanky. You're all over the place. Mr. Mime. I'm not gonna lie, I don't play a ton of Mr. Mime, but I think that Mr. Mime is like S tier to play. Super fun. Especially if you're playing Confusion Barrier, which I think is just like the more viable build set, but that again doesn't really matter. Even if you're guard swap, I think Psychic sucks and isn't very good or fun to play, but Mime is really fun. You're like this tank, support, damage dealer, all packaged up in one. You have area denial with the walls, the stuns, the really strong and fun ultimate. You feel like you're in the face, like you just demand attention, right? Like you have to be dealt with, and it's really, really fun. Lucario for me, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge Lucario fan. It just doesn't really fit my playstyle. It's very all-rounder-ish, but since it doesn't jungle well, I don't really care for playing it all that much. But it's good. It's really, really good. I think it kind of falls under this like more like a, I don't want to call it slow, but it just isn't really like what I'm looking for out of an all-rounder for my play style. I think Lucario is really fun. There's a lot of mobility, and you know, somebody else would probably put it A+ or A tier for them. Again, that's the crazy thing about this tier list. There's no rhyme or reason to it outside of just like what I think about playing the character. But yeah, it's just not really my favorite preference, and it's probably because of the jungle. But I think that it's a really, really good character, and a lot of people have a lot of fun. Greninja, this should be no surprise. This is one of my favorite characters in the entire game. I love Surf Smoke Screen. Like I liken it a lot to Genji from Overwatch. You have the resets on Surf. You're dashing. You can go invis. You're all over the place. He's also ranged, so it's not even like he's a true assassin, but it's got the assassin play style. It's very speedster-ish in execution, but it's really just a ranged attacker that has good damage and has really good execute with Smokescreen Surf. And Water Shuriken's fun to play too. You just poke and do a ridiculous amount of damage. I think it's really, really fun to play. Gengar. Yep, I'm saying it. I love playing Gengar. Gengar is really fun. I personally love Sludge Bomb Hex build. You're just spamming and you're hard to deal with, and it's not the best thing in the world. Shadow Ball Dream Eater is really fun too, but this character is fun. If this character was effective, it would easily be like a really popular pick. If it's not already just a really popular pick. Gengar is super, super fun to play. It's just not really that effective, which sucks. Gardevoir, I'd say Gardevoir is pretty fun to play. Of the ranged SP attackers, it's definitely one of my favorites. She's the literal definition of a mage. You poke from range, you do damage, you're using like what looks like magic and powerful abilities. Really, really fun. Still falls under that like kind of slow and not so self-sufficient kind of style, but at least she's got a self-stun, which is good. I mean, so does Dazzling Gleam. But you know, Gardevoir's pretty fun to play. Garchomp. I don't know what else to say. I'm probably gonna have a lot of S tier picks. Garchomp is so fun. I don't even know how to explain it. Dig Earthquake is fun. Dragon Rush Dragon Claw is fun. The Unite move is fun. Everything about this character is fun except for how effective it is. This character was my first like main in the Japanese beta along with Charizard. I love all-rounders, I love bruisers and MOBAs, so I naturally gravitated toward them, but I played a ton of Garchomp and a ton of Charizard in the Japanese beta, and I love this character. I've loved it ever since. It's got a built-in combo, which literally changes the way that the move interacts and looks, which I think is super unique and cool. And then the Unite move is kind of like, people are always like, oh, it's hard to control, and it's like, if you get good at it though, you're crazy strong. And I just love Garchomp so much. Eldegoss, I think Eldegoss is pretty fun. I'm not big in the supporter tree to begin with, like actually playing supports. Mime, like I said, Mime has its own little play style. It's really, really fun. But Eldegoss for a supporter is fun. There's a lot of mobility, a lot of steal potential, like carry potential, ranged attacking, and I'd say it's pretty fun. Cotton Spore is fun to play with. Cotton Guard feels fun because you're supporting a lot. Leaf Tornado's elite, and then the Unite move is so, so good. So I think that Eldegoss is very, very fun to play. Crustle. Oh god. Wait, why is my Crustle? Okay, never mind. Crustle is... Oh man, do I really love the tanks in this game? Is that funny how I really like playing the tanks in this game? Crustle's so fun. I love being like split push, stealth rocks, everything Crustle. Like take everything, constantly scoring. It's so fun to just speed around the map. I find this character really fun. I didn't realize how much I like tanks. It's hard to play them. But wow, now that I'm thinking about it, I think that Crustle is so incredibly fun, and I can't help it because it's right here. I think that Greedent is so fun for the same exact reason. It's my next pick. It's so fun. It is incredible. I love just running around the map, being annoying and being hard to kill, dealing a good amount of damage at the same time. It feels really, really fun. As for Kramerant, I don't know. You know, it's weird because Hurricane Surf build is like somewhere here, but I think Air Slash Dive kicks it up quite a bit to here. So maybe I'll just put it at B tier. Like her air slash dive right here, super fun. Hurricane surf, it's like down here. You're kind of like not so self-sufficient. I don't really have that much fun just like waddling around waiting to die. So I'm gonna put it right here in the B tier, B plus tier. The character's really fun to play in its own way at the right time. In laning phase, Whirlpool is really fun. The Unite move is cool, but it's just not that effective, so it makes the character not feel as good. But yeah, that's kind of just where I'm at. Cinderace. Cinderace is pretty fun. I think that Cinderace is not the Greninja of like the AD carry kind of like ranged auto attacker role, but Cinderace is incredibly mobile, especially with the change to Blaze Kick, made the character really, really fun. Cinderace probably without that Blaze Kick change would be like an A tier for me, where you're just like, you're spamming damage, you're doing damage, you have that steal potential, but the character's very just like, you know, you just kind of tap, 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 and not really doing like a ton. But it's pretty fun with Blaze Kick. You're really, really mobile and you can do a lot. Blastoise. I think Blastoise is actually pretty fun, but I don't think I have as much fun on Blastoise as I have like almost any of the other tanks. Blastoise brings a ton of CC and is a really solid tank, and when you do rapid spin things, you're just all in their face and you do some good bursts with rapid spin Hydro Pump. The kit is fun. The ultimate, the Unite move is probably the funnest thing about Blastoise. But otherwise, I don't know. I'd say Blastoise is pretty fun. I really like this just like all like either heavy CC, which I think that Slobro and Mammo Swine do really well. Obviously, you have like the Hydro Pump and Surf, so you can bring a lot of CC with Snorlax. But this is like heavy CC in the fight. This CC is like a lot of pushbacks and stuff. Or the annoying playstyle for defenders is much more fun for me. But I'd say Blastoise is pretty fun. I probably didn't need to use my full tier list, but here we are, regardless. All right, Absol. Absol is incredibly fun to me. I think this is the true assassin of the game. You know, dive out, you know, leap on people instantly, chase them. It's very, very fun. It's that like speedster assassin role that is truest, like the truest form of that speedster role. I think it's super mobile, super fun. I'm not a huge fan of Pursuit and Psycho Cut, but I played them recently and it's still fun. You're still jumping and diving all over the place. It feels really, really fun to play. Charizard. Okay, here's the thing. Charizard is one of my favorite characters, and it's one of my favorites to play, but I don't want to put it in the S tier because Charizard's mechanically not that super crazy to play. You throw out your abilities, you prepare yourself for your Unite move, and you have a lot of fun during the Unite move. I think a lot of my fun for Charizard, where somebody else would probably put it like down here, like, oh, it's kind of cool, it's like sluggish or slow to play. I get that. I think Charizard gets thrown up here because one, it's my favorite Pokemon, and two, I love fire. Like, fire is like my favorite element. And three, the Unite move is so fun. Like, being that just like, no, it feels like no one can deal with me. I'm above everybody. They can't control my movement. They just have to run from me or try to kill me or die. And that's so fun. So yeah, Charizard gets bumped up the list quite a bit. Pikachu, I'd say Pikachu's pretty fun. This is kind of tied to the strength of the character now too, because if this character wasn't like one of the highest performing SP attackers, I would probably put it lower. I have way more fun being super mobile with Sylveon, diving and jumping all over the place, but Pikachu is immobile and really strong, whereas Ninetales and Cram, they're like kind of mostly immobile, but they don't really feel that strong. Pikachu just kind of blows things up, and it feels like that is like if you're going to have a ranged attacker that is relying on their abilities, you need it to be like Pikachu, where you're just blowing things up and being good by being good. You know, definitely think that that's the case. Venusaur falls perfectly in line with Sylveon. You're super mobile, you're running all over the place, you're doing your damage, it's super fun. And if you play Solar Beam build, then you don't have to be super mobile because you're long range. So it does what the SP attackers, like these three SP attackers down here, wish they could do, which is like being immobile but being a lot more effective. I mean, Gardevoir can kind of do it, but I find Solar Beam to be way more fun than just poking with Gardevoir, and I find Solar Beam to be way more fun than playing Cram or Ninetales. And then Giga Drain Pedal Dance is super fun. You just run all over the place. Really cool. Zera Aura. I think y'all are probably starting to see a trend with me in terms of what kind of characters I like. It's like all-rounders and speedster playstyle a lot. Zera Aura is so fun. Whether you're playing Spark, Wild Charge, like zipping and dodging all over the place, whether you're Volt Switch, Discharge, the Unite move, I think that this character has a super cool kit design. I feel like it's sad that it's not in the best spot right now. Like, I think that they kind of hit it a little too hard with some of the nerfs and leaving it at the 10 level curve. But Zera Aura is really, really fun to me. I love Volt Switch Discharge. I can't help it. I think that Spark Wild Charge right now is probably overperforming and doing really well, or performing better and doing well. But I love Volt Switch Discharge so much. Wigglytuff is interesting because I think playing it like its normal tank mode, it's going to sit at A tier. I'm going to put it here. But honestly, Rollout kind of throws it like up here. Rollout is so fun to use. And Wigglytuff is obnoxious. She's annoying, but it's also a reason why I kind of hate this character, this Pokemon. So I think naturally I'm just gonna put it in A tier. It's fun to play, but it's also super annoying and meh. Okay, I hate to do it, but I just find playing Snorlax so boring. I think that playing this character is, you're just like the tank unless you're playing Flaillax, and Flaillax would honestly probably go here. But I'm gonna stick it true to like the more tanky side of it. I think the Heavy Slam block, to me, I just don't care for being like that. I'm just a tank. Mammo Swine feels like you're getting a lot done when you play Mammo Swine. You do some damage, you're repositioning and shoving the person. And I know that you do that with block, but it just feels more fun. I don't know how to explain it. Probably the Unite move is more fun too than just flopping on your back and laying there. Slobro, you're ranged attacking, so it feels more fun. The Unite move is more fun to me. Crustle Grid and a run around all over the place. Snorlax to me is just really boring. I don't know how to explain it. It's just really not really my thing. All right, Machamp, I think is a super fun to play all-rounder, but it's definitely like one of my least favorite of the all-rounders to play. So it's going to kind of sit a little bit lower. That said, I would actually way rather play Machamp than Dragonite. I really find Dragonite to be kind of boring to play. Maybe if Outrage was a little bit more prevalent in the meta, I would have a lot more fun with Outrage. Outrage would probably pull this up, but that's where I'm leaving it for now. But Machamp, super, super fun to play. Decidueye. Decidueye is really fun. I wish the character was a little bit more viable, but again, that doesn't matter. I think that just being that backline shredding nuke of a character that's not an SP attacker, it's like the fun version of playing Cram, Ninetales, Gardevoir to me, and even Pikachu, because you're just constantly doing damage. And yeah, sure, you're not going to nuke things like Pikachu, but you can shred. Pikachu's much more viable, but I think that this is way more fun. The Unite move's not great, but it's pretty fun. Like, you can use it to kill people long range, and there's not a lot they can do about it. But yeah, not the best thing in the world. And Blissey, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of the supporter role, like actually being like a healer or a support. I think Eldegoss gets a bump because it's like really mobile and has like fun abilities, but Blissey's kind of boring. She's like okay to play, but she's kind of boring. So there you have it. That's my tier list in terms of fun. I love mobility. I love unique kit design. You can see that. You can see that in the S tier. Unique kit design, mobile, unique combos and stuff. Mobility almost always takes king for me in a lot of characters that I like to play. Decidueye is like that shredding character I really enjoy, and then just being obnoxious sometimes is like enough of a reason to put characters high up on the tier list. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like I said, fun, kind of lighthearted video. Doesn't really mean anything, but I had a lot of fun putting it together. So this is like my fun tier list. Yeah, that's how I enjoy the game. So as always, friends, be sure to be kind to one another. Tell someone that you love them. I'll see you on the next video.